Now that we've made all of our parts, we just got done with our top, we're going to be able to do what we call an assembly. So you need to go File, New, and now we can bring in all of our parts, and our parts will come in as components. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So you go to File, Import, and you notice it defaults as 3ds files right here in the files of type. You need to change that to SketchUp files. And our SketchUp file that we need is called End1. We're going to start with End1, open that up, and I like working in the corner here in the origin. Now I'm going to zoom extents tool, and you'll notice that automatically the move tool is picked for you, and this is selected. If you hover over each of the sides, there should be a little X. Those X's will allow you to rotate this. And I want this rotated up. So I'm going to rotate this up, and then I'm going to rotate it over. Notice how you're right in the middle, right in the crosshairs. You look at that center X, you want to make sure you get it perfectly square. Now we have an end, now we need a side. File, Import. Now we're going to look for our sides. Side of the shelf, open. Now we need to rotate. Maybe we have to use our rotating ball to pull it down so we can see. And then we need to turn it again up. And then we don't have to rotate it any other way, but we do have to attach it to the end. We're going to take this corner. Notice how that corner light, the little dot lights up. You're going to click on that dot and then move your mouse without clicking on anything to the end point of that component. Notice how that component lit up. Now I clicked again. This is perfectly joined. You can physically move them, but they are lined up perfectly. Now, notice how we only made one side. We're going to duplicate that side over here. And how we do that is we pick up the Move tool, and then we know that this point, if I duplicated one, this point should touch this point. So I'm going to hold the Control key down. It's in the lower left-hand corner of your keyboard. It has CTRL on it. You click and hold that down, and now you click the mouse and bring it over to that point right there. Let's take a look. Looks like we're slightly off. We can move it just a little bit out, zoom in, and again, this should be to that part of the component. Nice and tight. If you look at each one of these, they look good. Now we have two more parts to do. One is the end. We're going to go File, Import, and we're going to find End 2. Scrolling down, looking for End 2. Open that, and notice how it is flat. We have to bring it up and bring it over. Now we have to line up this corner, you can pick any corner, this corner to the matching corner. Now that should be the entire base. Now we need to put the top on. Just like we did before, File, Import. Now we're going to look for top. Here's the top. Open. And if you're really good, you can take that corner that's lit up and you can set it right on top of the box. If not, I'll give you a little clue on how to line things up. If you go to Camera, Standard View, Front, everything should be nice and square, making sure you do have parallel projection selected. Notice how all of these are nice and even. If not, you can physically move the top back and forth to even things up. Then you can go to Camera, Standard View, Bottom. Make sure all of these are nice and tight. Camera, Standard View, Left. Perfect. Camera, Standard View, Right. The only difference is the slot is there. And this blue line is on the opposite side. Next, you need to go to Camera, Standard View ISO, and then we need to select all of this. So click your mouse tool and select everything. Go from the lower left or lower right to the upper left. Everything should be selected. Right click, make group, and we're good. Now we need to save it. We're going to call this assembly. I'm going to call this assembly box. Now, next time we're going to talk about how to get 3 views of this object end dimension.